We are all still processing what we just witnessed as Impact Wrestling went off the air on Access TV. Welcome back inside Cicero Stadium in Chicago. The fans are making their way out. I'm Tom Hannifan. He's the Drama King Matthew Rehwoldt. We're certainly feeling the Chicago heat. And what was revealed tonight by Eric Young, the exclusive, never-before-seen footage of what really went down with him and Deonna, was fascinating, disturbing, and eye-opening. We are going to get to that a little bit later on here on the Impact Post Show, but we want to start off with our main event matchup. It was a first-round battle in the tournament to determine the #1 contenders to the Impact World Tag Team Champion Subculture come Emergence. First on the docket, it was going to be the Rascals up against Jonathan Gresham and Speedball Mike Bailey. Now, I want to bring forward the trouble that the Rascals got in a little bit earlier on tonight. I want to make sure I have all this right. Per Impact Management, the Rascals have been fined 2 weeks' pay, and if they get involved in anyone else's matches in this tournament, they will be out of the tournament, fined, and suspended. That is because of what they have done lately, especially at the hands of Speedball Mike Bailey. And by the way, they cheated to win tonight.
Oh my God, of course you actually literally wrote that down, you nerd. Oh my God. Try to be like a real person for once. Yeah, have some feeling. Don't just be a robot.
What do you mean have some feeling? Listen, I sat down with Jonathan Gresham a number of weeks ago. He was upset about rules, right? He wanted this environment to have proper rules because he's an athlete of the highest order. I agree with what he's saying. And then people like the Rascals are going out here using spray paint in people's eyes, and that's how they're getting wins. And I understand how this works in pro wrestling. The referee's decision is final. But you can't tell me that that was a fair fight.
What I can tell you is what the most inspirational man I've ever known, Homer Simpson, told me. And it was that if I don't see it, it's not illegal. So therefore, ipso facto, Latin-esque, it works. You get away with it, you get away with it. I'm sorry, you don't have to like it, you just have to deal with it.
Okay, so the Rascals win, and they are moving on. I'm very curious to see how Impact Management deals with that. Next week, the next first-round tournament matchup is going to be the ABC up against Swan and Callahan. Again, the winners of this tournament move on to Emergence Sunday, August 27th, live in Toronto to challenge Subculture for the Impact World Tag Team title. Speaking of championships, tonight, Kenny King managed to retain his digital media title in a triple threat match. Interesting circumstance with Uemura and Hendry throughout that match.
Yeah, I mean, it was Hendry who kind of he was hoping for a one-on-one matchup to get his digital media title back. But Uemura, as we pointed out, had that singles victory over Kenny King. Santino Marella liked all of this coming together and said, why not throw it together? Much to the chagrin of Hendry, who now had to compete against his buddy. And I think that actually played to the advantage of Kenny King in this one. He could kind of, at points, it didn't really totally break down, but was able to kind of play the two friends against each other. They had to compete against themselves to get to Kenny King in a way. And I think King played it perfectly, like a fiddle.
Do you think everything's okay between Hendry and Uemura?
Define okay. You know what I mean?
We talked about it during the match, so before the bell, these guys are friends. Between the ropes, it's a different story. We understand that. 100%. They're competitors.
That's how it always is in this business. I mean, time will tell. I would like to think that there was nothing egregious enough in that match to separate them, but we'll see what their future holds.
Yeah, we'll see what goes down with the Digital Media Championship moving forward. When we come back here in the Impact Post Show, we're going to revisit what went down surrounding Emergence opponents, the Knockouts World Champion Trinity and Deonna Purrazzo earlier on this evening here in Chicago, and also the exclusive footage provided by Eric Young.
From Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Impact Wrestling presents Emergence, streaming live Sunday, August 27th.
Thank you for joining us here on the Impact Post Show. Earlier on this evening, we saw face-to-face Emergence opponents, the Knockouts World Champion Trinity and Deonna Purrazzo. Things got heated once again, but then the Coven interjected, and that led to an impromptu matchup. And my hat's off to Deonna Purrazzo and Trinity. They were not in their traditional wrestling gear to compete. Nope. Deonna Purrazzo said, hey, screw it. We want to have this matchup right now. Santino Marella granted it.
Well, I mean, that just shows to me how high the tensions are running heading into Emergence. I mean, that's how worked up the Virtuoso was. And this is someone who's very, again, I know very well, cool, calm, collected, under pressure. There's a reason she's a 3-time knockout world champion. And like, to see her that turned up about everything going on with Trinity and then the Coven interrupting that, I think she was just ready to go. And clearly, she proved it.
At Slammiversary, Trinity became the first person to get Deonna Purrazzo to tap out here in Impact. Deonna Purrazzo vowing earlier on tonight that that will not happen again, that people don't beat her twice. Do you see a different outcome when these two battle at Emergence?
I hate to be broken, right? You know my answer here. I believe the Virtuosa. I believe anything she'll say to me, but especially when it comes to that, when it comes to her submission wrestling prowess, I don't think there's anybody on the planet who can doubt the skill of Deonna Purrazzo. And now that she knows the strategy Trinity, she's had that face-off, she's had that one-on-one, that hands-on experience, not just the theoretical experience. What this could be like, she knows firsthand. And I think she'll be able to adapt and overcome.
Especially the Coven getting the win in that tag team matchup earlier on tonight. Things are not okay between Trinity and Purrazzo. The tension continues to build on the way towards Emergence. Speaking of tension, I can only imagine how the design, Deonna and Khan are feeling after what was revealed this evening here on Access TV. Eric Young telling us that the story of what happened, why he is not dead, was a fascinating story, revealing exclusive footage from what went down months ago. Ourselves, the entire Impact Wrestling fanhood, believed that Eric Young had been terminated, that the sickness had been eliminated by Deonna. Violent by Design's death gave way to the design. If you're Deonna and Khan, how are you processing what we saw tonight?
I mean, I don't know. What I'm thinking is if Eric Young can withstand Deonna and what he did to him, if he's able to survive that, what can't he survive? That, if I'm Deonna, I'm thinking that. Like, I thought I had it done. Now what do I got to do? That's the logical train of thought is, all right, that didn't work. What do I have to do to truly stop this man, to truly eliminate the sickness? But if he was willing to do that, to put Eric Young down to a permanent degree, and Young survives, I am at a loss if I'm Deonna for what I have to do to truly finish Eric Young.
Deonna had been going haywire for a number of months as things were not going well with the design. He went from very stoic, calm, cool, and collected when he was telling Khan and Angels what to do. Angels has since separated. Khan, to as far as we know, is still backing up Deonna. And then what went down at Slammiversary? Eric Young coming back from the dead, himself and Scott D'Amore beating Deonna and Bully Ray that night. I don't know how unhinged Deonna is going to be after this. I'm very curious to see what Khan's actions are in all of this, because Khan has been following Deonna this entire time, believing what Deonna executed that evening many months ago. And now Eric Young clearly has some unfinished business with the design. Can he handle what type of violence Deonna might produce next?
The only person who knows that is Eric Young.
We're going to find out here. It has been hot. It has been exciting. The action has been fantastic here in Chicago. We want to thank you all so much for joining us here on the Impact Post Show. Tune in next week for Impact Wrestling on Access TV.